All right, so I need to talk about something that's been really heavy on my heart in just this whole week of just helping people build their teams and fix their plateaus and fix the bottlenecks that are within their business. And I'm talking about for active operating land investors. And for me, over the last several years, I have hired and fired and looked everywhere to try and find quality employees and try and build an actual real company that can take care of my family, that can cash flow, that can make my investments, so on and so forth. And I've been able to do that, but it did not come without hard work. Now, when people come to me and when new clients come to me, I see some of the most, just some of the most ridiculous things I've seen on how to run a team. And I'm like, where'd you learn that from? And they tell me, I'm like, wow. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the principles that I do teach to some of my clients to get their team from failing miserably and not closing any deals or barely closing deals or missing targets grossly to exceeding targets to surpassing what the operator thought they were originally going to do and just getting better and closing deals and getting the ball rolling and having momentum and keeping momentum and so on and so forth. This is so vital if you want to run a land investing business that cash flows without you, right? And so when you hear this thing about passive income, it's important to understand that the only true way to make this passive is to have most of the tasks subbed out. If the tasks are subbed out, well, then you have the time freedom to do what you need to do. But you might have the time freedom, but do you have the financial freedom? That's the other thing. So many people come to me having subbed out these tasks, but it's not subbed out correctly. So they have time freedom, but they don't have financial freedom because deals are not getting closed. And so I want to talk to you guys about first culture. So what kind of culture do you set precedent, or is culture to you just like one document of saying like, oh, this is who we are, we're respectful and we're loyal, and you just share a one-page document with your team and then they're like, okay, great. But what does that mean? What kind of standard do you actually hold your team to? And for me, it's integrity, it's hard work, and it's effort. I need to see that you guys are putting in effort, because even if we onboard someone new and they are not as like a super, super high echelon or super, super high quality, one thing I want to see is like, are you intelligent and are you going to put in effort and put in the work to learn how to do this properly? Because some of my best employees across any business, but specifically the land investing business, some of my best employees have been people who started out not great. Like maybe on a skill level, they were like C plus, B minus. But then on an effort level, on an integrity level, on a dedication to the job level, to understanding the task, they were an A plus. And I'd much rather have that than have someone who's an A plus with a C effort level, right? So that's the first thing you have to understand. You might be looking for people who are like A plus plus, but then what's their effort level? And then what's their commitment to you and your vision? That's extremely important to understand, because as people start to work together, you don't want people that are putting in minimal effort, because then the minimal effort becomes the standard. And if the minimal effort is the standard, then you will not be closing deals. And so it's so important to realize that. And I see this across many different people that I've worked with to help them go from not doing deals consistently at all to consistent deals month after month after month, or no profit in a month to multiple six-figure months. Or maybe I'm doing these small deals and now I'm doing bigger deals and my team's doing it for me. So these are all things that I've helped people do. Now, with that being said, how do you present that? You also have to lead by example. So you need to be developing yourself as an operator, as an owner consistently, and your team needs to see that. If you can develop yourself, then you become the ultimate authority to your team. So if they see that I'm constantly developing myself, if they see that I'm constantly learning how to get better, if they see that, here are all the things that I've learned. What have you guys learned this week? And they see me being honest. They see me putting in the effort. Well, then they're going to put in the effort too. So you also have to be able to lead by example when it comes to running a team. This is not something that, and maybe eventually for you, it can become this. And it has become this for me, but it's not something where you can just go on online jobs, throw up a few listings and hire a few people. And then after that, like now you run a fully remote team. The other thing, when it comes to team meetings, how are you actually meeting with your team? What kind of things are you going over? It's not just enough to meet. It's not just enough to meet. I need to evaluate your performance throughout the week. And I need to do my part as an operator to evaluate your performance. So I need to go and see,
Who did you talk to? What do those conversations actually look like? If you set a subtask in the CRM, did you actually follow up with that subtask, or did you just set it and not do anything about it? Because I need to go and see your notes. Okay, your notes. What kind of notes are you actually taking? Who did you talk to? Okay, what was the product of that conversation? Was there a product of the conversation, or are you just sending me a KPI report just so I'm off your back and I pay you for the week? Because there are some employees that will do that. And I've had this happen before where I've had to fire people because they went months just sending a KPI report, just making up stuff. And then you actually go in and see that, wait, you're not actually talking to these people. Or if you are, you're not double dialing. Or if you are talking to them, if you're talking to the people, you're not even doing your best to have a quality conversation. So these are all things that you have to evaluate as an operator, because just don't think that just because you're paying someone, they're going to just like you can't trust everyone, right? And it's a big thing of like, just, okay, let me verify that you're doing this over time. Let me make sure you continue to do it. Let me make sure you're continuing to perform. And you have to know that I'm going to go in here and look. You have to know that I'm going to go in and look at your performance. You have to know that I'm going to go in here and look at if you're setting subtasks and actually following up on the subtask. They need to know that. These are extremely important things because I've seen people go, again, months and not give the right information. I've had clients that tell me that, yeah, like my acquisition manager, she said she was making the calls, but she wasn't making any calls at all. When I went to actually check, when I asked for the call recording, she didn't have them. There was nothing. And so it's really important to track that and see what your team is doing. The other thing too, when it comes to communication, how are you communicating with your team? I've seen people communicate with their team on text message. Like, why are you communicating with your team on text message? You need to have a centralized place besides your CRM. So like Slack, we use Slack, a centralized place to speak to all of your team members. So, and also not just to speak to them, but then your team members start to build culture and get to know one another. And then on top of that, especially if you have, like, example, more than one acquisition manager, what happens is those two start to compete, or those three, or those four, or those five start to compete with each other. Because if I know that Sally had 15 conversations, I'm only having 5, what am I doing wrong? Am I actually trying? Probably not. So then they start to compete with each other, and you build a culture of competition. You build a culture of being relentless. The land business is not something that's just like, oh, okay, well, we'll just wait for something to come in. You have to be extremely aggressive. Like, my philosophy in our business is follow up until they sell or until they die. Sell or die. Sell or die. Something I say very often. Sell or die. They haven't sold to us yet. And even after they die, guess what? Is it in a trust? Does it need to go through the probate process? Like, what needs to happen here? And so you have to be very stickler about this. Like, listen, if you guys want to build businesses that make 7 figures a year, you really want to retire early. You really want to have that dream investment portfolio. You really want to have that dream house. You really want to do it? Or do you just want to talk about doing it and say, like, oh, yeah, it feels good for me to, I want to be able to, I can't stand that. I want to be able to make $250K a year. Okay, well, what are you going to do about it? Oh, well, I got to wait a couple months and I got to do it. You don't have time for that. So if you really want to do it, then you have to learn how to be a leader that leads teams. You have to learn how to be someone that people want to follow. You have to learn how to be someone that people want to subscribe to. So that also has a lot to do with your own personal development. You need to continuously be developing yourself, continuously be learning. There's never a moment for me when I am not trying to learn something new. Never. Regardless of what it is. I'm always trying to learn how to be a better father. I'm always trying to learn how to be a better businessman. Always trying to learn how to be a better husband, more devoted to God. Those are all things that I'm always trying to learn about. How do I just get better? How do I just get better? How do I develop? And because I develop at such a rapid pace, the people that are not developing at such a rapid pace, they look to me as the authority. So for you need to be able to develop at such a rapid pace that you consistently are an authority to your team. You also want to be able to incentivize and celebrate wins. So how are they going to be incentivized for winning? How are they going to be celebrated for winning? There's a certain way to incentivize someone. Like, example, in the Philippines, they do the 13th month. But I'm not going to do the 13th month if you haven't hit these key performance metrics. I also do something where I allow them to compete for the 13th month. And I say, I will give you triple the 13th month. In this month, whoever wins this gets this triple. And so what happens is, especially around this time of the year, everyone is grinding harder. And I had to figure this out because for the past years, say maybe 2022, 2023, we would get to the end of the year and then people would be like, it's like they weren't there anymore, not working. So I was like, how do I incentivize them to go harder? I came up with that and I said, you know what? If I allowed them to compete for just one prize, that would be like 3 to 4 months of pay. They're going to go extra hard. And that's what happens. And then on top of that, they know, my team knows, I give random bonuses as well. Whether it be, I give them some extra money or I send them a gift card to something, or I'm always giving random bonuses. And it's important to just know how to incentivize performance and then just expect greatness from your team. Expect winning from your team as well. Expect it. And if it's anything less than that, well, then there needs to be a meeting had. The other thing too, I've seen where people send YouTube videos of all kinds and send music and send movie suggestions to their team. You're not doing any of that. You're not doing any of that. First of all, you are the ultimate authority when it comes to your team. So you're not sending them a video of, don't send your team my videos as an example. You need to watch my video, take notes on my video. If you decide to work with me, let's work together so I can actually help you. And the micro things, everything I'm sharing right now is macro. The micro things in your business, I can actually help you with it. But you need to share that with your team. Does that make sense? So you don't need to actually go to your team and say, oh, well, Femi said we should be doing this. No, you need to be the authority to your team. Because if Femi said that we should be doing this, then why don't we just go work for Femi? So you need to be the ultimate authority to your team. You don't need to be sent to saying, oh, this guy said this. I'm saying this on our meeting today. This is what we need to change. This is what we need to do. When it comes to reviewing sales, this is the most important thing. The most important thing I'll probably see on this video. When you get on meetings, are you actually going through your team's phone calls? Are you going through their phone calls? Are you taking notes on their phone calls? Are you saying this is where you could have went wrong? This is where you went right. This is where you did this. You could have did this. Are you doing that? Or are you just letting them say that they talked to a few people and that's kind of it? So when reviewing your sales calls with your team, you need to be going through all their calls. You need to be taking notes on where they messed up, where they went right. And before you get on a meeting with your team, you need to already have those notes done. So that way, when you get on meetings with them, you say, okay, here's this call, this lead. Let's go over this lead. This is where I think you could have got better. This is where I think you would have done better. This is what I would have done differently. It needs to be a feedback loop constantly. And then the next call, hey, I need you to let me know how that change worked. I actually tried that, and this is what happened. If you have examples of you closing deals, you need to say, hey, do you see the difference between me saying, I'll send you the contract in this tonality versus in that tonality? Do you see the difference in tone? Because especially, I hire a lot of people abroad. I very rarely have U.S. employees. So when you are hiring people abroad, their tonality is not going to be the same as ours. The way they speak is not going to be the same way as we speak. The way that the jokes that they have is not going to be the same as the jokes that we have. And so you have to work pretty hard at teaching them how to do this. And it takes time. That's the one thing I want you all to understand. It takes time to properly build a team. It takes frustration. It takes iteration. It takes a lot. And what I see a lot of people do, and this is why so many land flipping businesses fail, is you have this idea in your head that as soon as I get the employees, I've kind of made it and I've kind of done it now, and it's delegated off and it's passive and I can just chill. For the first year plus of hard work to build this properly, it's actually the opposite. And you have to be able to do all of this as well without micromanaging people, which is why we set meetings the way we set them. So we set deal reviews and we set sales calls. Those are the two things: deal reviews and sales calls. Sales call reviews. Those are the two things: deal reviews, sales call performance. Everything else is in Slack. So this broker, this, everything quick is in Slack. But for, let's say, deal reviews, we're going through each deal. I need to make sure that touch points are set on every single one of these deals, because every single one of these leads could cost me $50,000. You have to have that in your mind. So don't just throw leads away. You need to be able to turn over the stone and then teach them how to turn over the stone until there's absolutely nothing here. We tried everything. We talked to the seller 70 times. We had 70 conversations with the seller. We've had 100 conversations with the seller over the past year. And this is what's happening. This is what we need to fix. this is what we can do better next time. I'm still going to set a follow-up sequence. Like, it has to be, if you really want to be successful with this, it literally has to be like gangbusters, following up with as much people as possible. It has to be aggression in the CRM and aggression on your end too, just to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And performance review, like your team wants a feedback loop, because how do they know what they're going to be doing right or wrong? And the other thing too that it's important to understand, many of these employees that you're going to hire, they're looking for wins. Like they do want to do well for you. Most of them want to do well for you. And so because they're looking for wins, there are certain KPIs that you might be tracking that you shouldn't even be tracking because they're vanity KPIs. I only want to know what's leading to performance. What's leading to performance is how many conversations are you having? How many offers are you making? How many offers are you making that are leading to contracts? How many contracts are we getting under contract that are leading to deals closed in escrow? How many of those deals closed in escrow are we actually listing and selling? Those are the only KPIs we need to know. Everything other than that you're tracking, I don't care about it. It doesn't matter. It's a vanity metric. Because that's going to push them to have, what's the start of that, what I just said? More conversations. So whether someone is cursing them out over the phone or whether someone is like, oh yeah, I'm amenable, I want to sell, more conversations on the phone. Push them to have more conversations on the phone. I challenge you right now. Go through your CRM. Look at all the leads. See if there's a subtask set for every single lead. I guarantee you there's not. I guarantee you there's not. Something along the way was dropped off. There's not notes here. There's not notes there. I guarantee you that's what your CRM looks like right now. If you're currently not doing the numbers you want to be doing, I guarantee it. And these are all things I've learned the hard way, which is why I built Landverse, to have the micro implementation that I have into people's businesses to where they're able to 3x, 5x, 10x their businesses within just 12 to 18 months. And if you want my help doing that, feel free to apply to work with me below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.